Hello, welcome to day 9 of creating a modern OpenGL game engine. So, let's get back to it. Really looking forward to doing this. Really hoping to finish the settings class today. Frame rate, I'm not going to hit today, mainly because I was having a look at it. I'm going to need to do a bit more research into it. If anybody knows how to do that on GFW, haven't quite looked on SDL. SFML, I'm positive I've done before. I'm pretty sure I saw in the last video some documentation. SDL, what was very similar. GFW, I can't see any sort of immediate direct method for it. If you know how to do it in SDL, GFW, feel free to let me know in the comments or any other way that you want to message me, and I'll implement that in a different vlog. And as usual, the GitHub page link will be in the description. Feel free to check that out. Feel free to contribute towards the notes that I've got here, towards the future features, towards the code, anything. If you see bugs, if you want to add something, feel free, and I will really appreciate that, because the aim of this is to create the best game engine on the planet for everyone to use for free and learn as well, because I'm learning, you're learning, everyone's learning. It's great fun. So fixed window not closing. So I'll show you what I mean. If I go on SFML, and let me just minimize this. If I click the quit button, that doesn't quit, and if I click or press Command Q, which is the quit command on Mac, that doesn't work either, so I need to figure that out. So let's go to SFML CPP. It'll be to do with the polling of the events. Return false. So that will be in core framework. I haven't touched the core framework folder for ages. Poll events that returns something. Returns true or false. That there is just as a contingency. If something for whatever reason that didn't return but it should do, then that returns it to core engine. So poll events, my bad, this needs to go return and now it's saying it will never be executed, obviously. So I need to, if missed out a bracket here. What I want to do is, if it's not true, then I'll do return false. They shouldn't be doing return false, it should be doing return exe underscore failure. That works like a charm. Now let me just confirm Command Q works. Great. While I'm here, I'd rather just get this all tied up, so I'll do exe underscore success for this. For exe underscore failure, I'll do exe underscore, for false, I'll do exe underscore failure. Again, exe underscore success. If we go to the framework thingy-majiggy, this has to be exe underscore success. Let's go to SFML. This is to be exe underscore failure, exe underscore success. So I wonder if I were to now change this to SDL, if it already works. Should be able to tell if we're going to the polling of the events. Yeah, that should work now. So let me just change this to exe underscore failure, exe underscore success. I'm gonna guess it's because if I go to core engine CPP, I shouldn't be doing it like this. I should be doing if it equals exe underscore failure, because that's the sort of okay. What that's saying is always getting an exe underscore failure. So if we go to SDL CPP, This should obviously never be triggering, so if I run this now, is this something to do with this? No, I don't want to show that in Finder. I want to see what essentially that is. 0 and 1, no. For some reason, by returning exit underscore success, I'm honestly just going to comment this out. No. If I go to the main, exit underscore success, this needs to be whether or not equals to exit underscore success. Not the nicest, but for now I'm going to leave it. I'll probably need to create a hash define of my own instead of doing exit underscore success. Let's just see if this works first, and then I'll modify that. So if I comment this back in, go to the engine. Now this should still be working. For some reason it isn't. To do with this exit underscore success. If we go to main.cpp, more true, if game, I'm positive it's to do with this, so if I were to run this now, should still remain in the loop. For some reason game loop isn't coming back as success. Oh no, sorry, my bad. If it's exit underscore failure, I can, now I'm happy with the naming, because if it means it's exiting. Didn't work, but I think I've got some stuff commented out. If I go to core engine, that's commented out right there. If I go to SDL, no, that's not commented out, so this should now work. It should turn off as well. That worked. Let me just confirm command Q works. That works. I'll just sort out GRFW and then exit underscore success is, no, it's not the right thing to use, and we're going to need to create our own hash defines. So if we go to GRFW, first go to definitions, type in GRFW, in the CPP, we go to poll events. Okay, I've just tried to build that, didn't like it for some reason. Don't like exit underscore success. See what the difference between this and that one. Here. GRFW. Why would exit? Oh, it's there. For some reason it doesn't like being in. Framework header. Use of undeclared exit underscore success. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Exit. Hash include IO stream. Okay, It's part of the IO stream, my bad. Okay. Realistically, this should not be required. Yeah, I'm going to remove this entirely. So the poll events, we don't have that activated. So if I were to just run this, obviously it didn't run because if we go to GOFW, I'm just returning true instead of XC_success. Obviously if I were to do that now, that run but I can't quit, so I need to comment the code for GFW. So GFW quit. Won't close window. Let's see what we got. So one GFW wait event into your loop and window should close properly. Do I have to do a return? No, that's going to give me an error. Oh, there's this GFW wait events. No, why would it be this? GFW poll event exit. Poll events, multi-threading. No, it won't be to do with this, unless I do have to create something similar, detecting the actual event itself. I guess I would. GLFW events. Actually, if I go to GitHub, let's have a look if in any of these tutorials, go to the latest one, did any sort of event handling. Alpha keys. Here we go. Now for the escape key, I don't want to do it based on escape because that's something we would, I would say, programming ourselves. There's something. Implement closing method. Realistically, our application will need to have a closing method because whether it's based on the escape key or an enter key on the exit button or whatever it is, it will need to be able to close itself. So that is very important. So we need to implement some sort of closing method. So I was doing, well, that didn't have it, but if I go to our GitHub page, maybe the old OpenGL tutorials that I was doing has it. So if I go to damn, it was that many different repositories since. Or Interactive, we did that many. GFW. Just trying to time input should have the latest piece of code. No, that's the same poll events. So if I do key input, poll events, it should be after swap buffers. So if I go to CoreEngine, where's poll events? Does that make a difference? No, realistically you should process events first. No, that doesn't make a difference. I don't see why it would have. So in GLFW, I'm doing poll events. I want to jump to the definition. GLFW close button. That should, well, that's about disabling, but should give us a clue about how to enable it as well. Okay, something there, see what this has got. Okay, saying GFW set window close callback. Oh, no, I want to Google that to see where exactly I need to put it and how to use it. Window handling. Sets the close callback of the specified window, which is called when the user attempts to close the window, for example, by clicking the close widget in the title bar. So a new callback or no to remove the currently set callback. And just specify no. So I'm assuming if I go to the CPP, after we've created the window, I would just put it honestly here. If I just do this window, no, run it. No. Actually, if I were to do it after, no, again, don't know why that would work, because yeah, this is just checking if the window is a no pointer. We can see that it isn't, and as a result it should have worked where it was. Let me jump to definition in case it's actually returning some value. Selecting quit from the menu application. Okay. Yep. No, that doesn't work either. We are getting close though. Set window focus callback. This function says the focus callback. No, we only want the close callback. This function sets the close callback specifier window, which is called when the user attempts to close the window, for example, by clicking the close button. Close flag is set before the callback is called, but you can modify it at any time. Close callback is not triggered by GL after we destroy a window. It's only be called from the main thread. Unless, no, I don't think I would actually have to do this as a return based thing, would I? It's running. put it here. Unless it's after I make the current context. Nope, it doesn't like that either, so I'm just going to delete this. One thing I've just noticed is window here should be this window. So, if I just grab this from here, I'm going to do some more Googling. I know they're the favourite of some of our viewers. GFW. I'll just see what happens if I do it this way instead. GFW close window close callback. Good to learn the OpenGL. Is there anything in here that will help? Poll event swap buffers, yeah, that's fine. So that's how you would specifically close the window, but how do I do it based on that button being pressed? Unless I actually have to detect it. I'll have a look. If I were to create a method like so in here, GFW, it wouldn't be a key. It's not a key. GFW underscore I'm gonna put close, see if anything comes up worthwhile. Exit. A lot to realistically to go through one by one, so no, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna say it's not that at all. So if it's in one of the later tutorials, let's go this far. In practice, just find the main CPP. No, it's still based on the escape key. But highly doubt GFW doesn't allow you to just click the close button. That can't be the case. This is where a live stream will be fantastic, because I'm sure one of the viewers will know the answer to this, and obviously I'm having to just, I'm receiving a phone call, but that can wait. Looks like this link ain't helping. Let's have a look what else we got. Window close callback. Why is CB fun? I'm guessing that's just stuff that it's doing for the callback. As in, what I mean as the stuff that needs to be done for this particular application, and it's not actually required at all as long as we provide the window. And actually, but let's have a look where it's being put. Doesn't seem to help too much. Window set, window close callback. There. As already mentioned, it's primitive by word, so there's slight problems about the callback which handles the window closure. The question is what kind of function definition will handle the callback properly. I know that the callback in GFW is this. I'm looking for a proper implementation of the callback because the goal of the OpenGL implementation. Okay. That always return GL false. I'm going to try something here, so I'm going to put after the poll events if this window null return exit underscore failure. Don't worry, this isn't the entirety of the code. If it equals GL underscore false, so I liked false, but it didn't like it being compared to true. GL. It's between a difference of a 0 and a 1. It didn't like that whatsoever. It's proper weird. Proper weird. Always return GL. Got an idea. Need to figure out what sort of method this requires for the callback. Because what I'm going to do is grab this piece of code, cut that, whack it into here, get rid of this code. So theoretically, so I need to find out what sort of method this requires, because I'm just going to see if the callback does get called at the right moment and we just have to close it ourselves. If that's the case, that's not a big deal either. The question is what sort of CB fun. It was GFW window close fun. It's a very weird name. Unless I can actually just pass this in somehow. what I need to actually do is open up that MATLAB one again, that GitHub MATLAB, because that did have a callback in there. So if I just open that back up, go back in here, the method seems to just be a simple CBFun method, so I won't put it as a part of the class at the moment, just to accelerate the process. Don't like that. Undeclared identifier, unless I put it above. Again, this is just to see if it actually works. Builds. Now what I'm going to do is do a simple std cout exit std end line. Let me just get the terminal up. I click exit. It's looking good. Command Q and quit. Okay, so the MATLAB one did help. I can get rid of that code before I go any further. Really, I'm just gonna put this within the header itself. So if I go to GFW HPP, so this method is only for this one. So this is, we call it CBFun. Yeah, I'll leave it as CBFun for now as the naming. Let me get that, copy that into the GFW, go all the way to, actually I should get rid of this first. 1 second. Okay. We'll scroll all the way to the bottom, whack this here. Need to do SGE underscore G FW colon. I like that a lot. So I need to do SGE underscore G FW colon SB fun. Actually, I think it's this CBFun. Referring to a non-static member function must be called to a non-static member function. But it won't be that. Unless you specifically need it to be within here. I'm just going to type in GFW callback. GFW callbacks. Okay, internal GFW callbacks. Go to the modern OpenGL tutorials. I set a callback right here. Again, it's just within this particular method. I'll get rid of this for now. And in CPP, I'll get rid of this. I'll leave it like this, honestly, for now. I just want to get a few things working. Okay, that it likes that, but it needs to be able to close the window. I did see that code somewhere. Let me just reopen closed windows. I think it was on here. No, well, technically you already have that piece of code in GitHub. In our modern OpenGL tutorials, if we go to any one, I guess, let's go to the main CPP, scroll down, and for this all we need to do is specify true. So if I go to well, the question is, will it even work? That window should close. What's it saying? Should close. You might be to do this. If not, GFW window should close. Because obviously the loop itself, if we go to maybe in the CPP file, maybe the engine file, the game loop, but it's all based on true and nothing else. That's what makes it awkward. Maybe that would have actually fixed it. Maybe that would have honestly fixed it. You know what I'm going to do? Just go to my desktop. Tutorial. There's code in here for exiting. Ooh. I just sort of quit. I don't want to do that. So yeah, code in here. So theoretically, oh, got the mouse locked down. That's not good. Don't want the mouse locked down. How do I lock the mouse down on here? Something to do with this. Yep, just as I expected. Let's just open up our engine project again. It's because of this, I'll just put while true. SFML game loop. I've got a way to fix this. So I want to see what the SFML game loop is like. If that is just window is open. But that has something. GFW SDL game loop. So what I'll do is create a method to check if essentially the window is still open, and that would call the appropriate methods. Quit equals false. That just seems to be a Boolean, I guess. Or if I'm doing while true and I've got the game loop here, So if I trace into the game engine, the game loop, if poll event equals failure, we go to GFW framework, it's returning the poll events. In the poll events, I'm just going to do is if I do is there a get window? Get window should close. Don't think there is then. No, there is. Its name's slightly different, but there is. It's this one right here. So I'll leave that as it is. If I do if it should close, return exit underscore failure. Now this should actually close it now. Try the quit button. Don't see what. Oh, don't know why that didn't go to the focus of it. That's all good. I just want to make sure that not having this method, it shouldn't ruin anything else theoretically. Because in SDL, from what I can tell, you're just basically keeping track of it yourself. In SFML, there is a window.isOpen method, and then in GFW, there's a GFW window should close method. Because let's just think about it. If we did have a sort of a isOpen method or should close method globally, essentially that can be accessed, would it be in the core framework, in the core engine? But should it not be? See, yeah, this should realistically only ever interact with core engine. Yeah, I think I'm going to implement it like that. It's sort of the way GFW and SFML has intended, and they have appropriate methods for it. I'd rather use their methods. So what I'm going to do is bool window is open. Obviously, if it returns true, then it's open. If not, then it's open. Is the window still open? Returns true if it is. So save that. Let me implement this method into core engine.cpp. I'm going to put core engine. Okay, so it's moaning because I haven't obviously returned anything, but within here, core framework.cpp needs the appropriate method. I should put that in the framework interface. Virtual void window is open equals 0. Copy that into GFW. Put override here. Let's get rid of virtual. Copy that, put this into GFW. Get rid of the semicolon. Need to put SG underscore GFW. So in here, I simply should. Sorry, this should be a bool. My bad. Bool. Bool. And bool. I should just be able to grab this, cut that into here, and merely do return that. Should just be able to get rid of this. And in our core framework, we also need the appropriate method as well. So we need to grab this. I think I'll just grab it from here, that would be better. Core framework. I'll just copy and paste it from here into the core framework.cpp. I need to get rid of this, put this here, put core framework, and framework object dot window is open. We're returning this into the core engine. Return core framework dot window. Sorry, my bad. I did the core framework object. I mean the class instead of the object. So core framework dot window is open, and in main.cpp just gotta do ce.window is open, and I'm hoping it's not open. Exit. I need to implement the same for sfml, and that is a window.isOpen method. So I'll copy and paste this from here into the SDL. I'll do sfml first into here like so. I'll copy the code from here essentially. Then we should be ready to test because everything else should all be linked up. So I can just copy this into here. I can do this window.is open. I'm not too sure if it was a capital I or not. Guess I'll find out when I change it in here to sfml. Run this bad boy. The program exited. I doubt it's anything to do with this. It's reversed. It is reversed. That messes things up ever so slightly, because in here it's Windows should close. That's more of a condition than anything. And so that's just saying if it should close, then it's true. So I mean, if it's true, then close it. Whereas the other one, if it's true, it needs to stay open. Unless I just simply do this. The main CPP window is open, so it needs to always be true. In the sfml, if I run this now, this should just not work. Actually, it does work, because if we go to, sfml, yeah, this is the window is open. What I'm going to do is do if Control X equals true, then return false, no, true, else return false. How many minutes have we recorded so far? 50 minutes, that's so good. Oh shit, just hit my desk. Okay, so that's fine. Let's get back to it. Did I just run it or not? No, I didn't, because the file hasn't saved yet. So this should work. If I exit it, it works. I need to do the same for GRFW now. I need to sort that out. Appropriately, that messes up. That's fine. If we go to the CPP, this should now read if should close, return false, else return true. This should work now, and I should just be able to quit it. So good. And now I need to do the same thing for SDL. So I'm just going to copy and paste this from here into SDL like so, and copy paste this into SDL CPP. Need to change this to SDL. I'm going to see if there's a window is open method. SDL is window open. If not, I'll have to just obviously just code it in myself, just using booleans. That's in the destroy window section. See what Lazy Foo is saying, because I think they had something similar as well. Just they basically had to do it themselves. How do I access all the videos? Event-driven programming. By then they should easily have implemented it. Where's the source code? Don't particularly want to download it, but I guess I will. Didn't I open it for some reason? Search for while. Should realistically only be 2 or 3 whiles. Yeah, creating their own boolean. User requests quit. That's the way they're doing it. SDL underscore quit. Okay, that's fine. I've essentially got it right here. So I just need to create a boolean for it. That's fine. I'll just create a boolean. Bool is open, and this needs to by default be set to true. So in the init, I'm going to put this right at the start as equal to true. Do this, and in here I'm not returning anything. Equals true, equals false, sorry. If I'm using Yoda as condition there, so if true, actually I should just be able to return that value. Shouldn't even have to do a check. Should just be able to do return this is open, and make sure it's all sorted here, true. Theoretically I should just be able to run that now. Window should open. It does bit of a delay. Let me just make sure it's all good. Oh, okay, look. I wonder what that delay is. I did because I'm going through several methods. wait a few seconds while I do it. Okay, yeah, I think it's just a loading issue. Yeah, that is fine then. We got is open. Is open. One thing I did want to, though obviously we've done this task now, before I do that. One thing I did want to have a look at, I don't think it's the main CPP. Use this exe underscore failure bullshit. Do I even need to do this now? I don't think I do, because I got the window is open stuff. If I go to here, there's none of that crap. Window is open, but that feeds, that's essentially just checking if the event type is closed, but close requested event, check all the situation, window.close. Yeah, I don't think I need that. Plus I think I'm handling that anyway in the SFML. So honestly, what I'm going to do is, for the poll events, do void, and I've got SDL open. I'll do this one first. Do void in the CPP, put a void. Don't need this anymore. In the core framework, I'm going to put a void. In the CPP, I'm going to put a void. Don't need to return anything. In the engine, and in the engine.cpp, no longer need this anymore. We're just polling the actual event itself. So we just need to, and for the game loop, I don't think we need this either. Should just be able to get rid of this, change this to void. We go to the core engine HPP, where is game loop. We go to main.cpp, should just have to actually just call the game loop itself. So if I run this, it should work. Should be able to exit. So good. Need to do the same for the GLFW and SFML. Let's do GLFW first. Let's build. We'll get errors, and really those errors should just be this. This should just be converted to void in the CPP file. This should be void. So returning anything. Should just be able to run this bad boy now. All the other changes that are outside of this particular framework are already done. Now I can go into SFML. Should get errors. That's good. That's good. We wanted these errors. Void would be worried if we didn't get the errors. That's essentially the way we've changed our code now to get errors. Yeah, that's fine, because if the window event is a close event, we're sort of switching out of this while loop, but the actual close is already handled itself, so we don't need to return anything. We just need to sort of switch out of this while loop, which is handling our events. No, it doesn't work. If window dot is open, on date by returning false data. Well, actually, that just won't work. But why is it not getting called? Is it to do with, honestly, to do with this? That should be window.close. So that's what I'm going to try now. So I'm going to try window dot this window dot close. This should hopefully now work. If I click exit. Fantastic. So that is working. I can take that off our list now. Fix window not closing. I need to implement a closing method. Let's check out the time. Should be at about 1:10. It's an hour actually. I'll implement a closing method because what we need to do is have SFML has a closing method. GLFW. What was the situation with this? You just do set window should close. And for SDL, in all fairness, we would just set is open equals false. Yes. So if we go to our framework.interface, I'm going to put a virtual void close window method equals 0. Copy and paste this into the framework file. Doesn't matter if we misset the V on virtual, we don't need that. Put an override here. Copy and paste that into the core framework.cpp file. And I need to put core framework object dot close I guess I need to actually implement it into something. The GFW I was dealing with, or was it SFML? It was SFML, so I need to put in here. So in the framework file, I should just be able to do close window now. So for SFML, it would be void SGE underscore SFML close window, and this is going to be this window close. Theoretically, I could just replace this here with calling this method in case we're doing something extra, but we might not want to be doing that extra bit there, or vice versa. If we're going to do something extra there, we might not want to be doing it here. So I'll just leave it separate. It's only one line of code for now. So that should build successfully. So I need to do and it should still work fine because we're not actually using that method yet. That's just something for later on when we do have a menu system and we have some sort of exit button. So it's for that instance. So what I'm going to do now is just I'll do the GRSW one. That was the one that was in the buffer. So I can copy this over. And if I go to the GRFW, I need to put this, need to put SG underscore GRFW colon. So in here, I need to do set window should close. So set window should close. Again, this shouldn't break or anything now. This should still be working a-okay. Can quit it. So if I go to the SDL now, so if I go to definitions, undo, go to GFW, copy and paste this line in SDL. It's going to be an easy one. Actually, it will be an easy at this section. So this is to change to SGL. Let's go SDL colon, and I need to do this is open equals false. Build, should run. I should now run. Actually, I do want to do one. I want to get rid of this now. Wouldn't mind just getting rid of this code. What I do want to do is in our OpenGL game engine, find in selected groups. I want to find exit. I want to find everywhere that I've used exit and make sure I'm using it as I should be. Exit underscore failure, that's fine. Exit underscore success, that is fine. Exit underscore success, GFW. I sort of do need to implement that. I'll do that at a later date. Leave that for now. But yeah, we got the the closing method done. So a closing method has been implemented. Like I said, the frame rate stuff, this will be done at a later date. Honestly, I'm just gonna get rid of this. So what I want to be able to do is add a I want to add a username defined for Sonar Game Engine, such as using namespace underscore SGE and using namespace underscore Sonar Game Engine. So I need to add that somewhere. Because realistically, probably need a bit of organization. Where I should really have within this, because this is sort of our project code folder, and within the project code folder there should be a Sonar Game Engine folder. Within that there should be the core and the definitions. The main.cpp should be outside. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. But what I'm gonna do is create a duplicate of the folder just in case something messes up. Shouldn't do, but just in case it does. So I'm gonna create a new folder called Sonar Game Engine, and within here I'm going to move the core and definitions. I'm just going to delete this from here. Let's remove the references, delete this from here, remove the references. And I'm just going to add this like so, add it as a group, that's fine. And I don't want this to be named, this should be Sonar core/core engine.hpp. File not found. but it was happy when I just had core there, but it doesn't like me just having Sonar Game Engine. Why would it not like me doing that? What do these A's and M's stand for? Hash include. So why isn't the Sonar Game Engine folder getting picked up? Let me just delete the reference. Let me try and add it again. Create groups, add to target, copy items if needed, I guess. Again, it likes liked it then. I did the copy items if needed. I guess sometimes that does. I guess it like that. Okay, that's fine. Not gonna argue. That is a-okay. And also what I want to do now is have a new file. It's gonna be a header file, and it's just gonna be Sonar Game Engine .hpp. So I'm going to rename this to HPP. Realistically should rename this as well, but before I do, because I'll cause errors, what I'm going to do is sort out this. Usually game engines, what they'll do is, like Cocos 2DX for example, they'll just have the one file that you'll include, and that will include everything else that you need to do. So core engine.hpp. So instead in the main CPP, if I were to get rid of this and build, it fails. But if I were to now do hash include Sonar Game Engine, no, I don't want to do Sonar Game Engine, run that now, that should work. Yeah, it's called Core Engine, but at least we're getting towards a more sort of proper engine now. We can do hash include definitions.hpp. That's what I'm going to call it. Oops, did not want to do that. Definitions HPP. We'll build that. That should cause errors in here. At the end of the day, it's got hashtag pragma1, so I might as well just include it everywhere so I explicitly know where it's being used. Okay. Ooh, it's used in a lot of places. Run that now. That should now work. So if I go to the definitions now, I should just be able to add some definitions for stuff like this. So we'll do hash define, and define that as the equivalent of this, but I'm going to get rid of the semicolon simply because I'd rather have the user put a semicolon there, so otherwise it's going to look a bit weird when you're having something that's not a while loop or an if statement or a function without a semicolon. I need to do the same for this. So if I just copy and paste this, cut it, copy, cut that. So now if I go to main.cpp, try and build it, I'll get an error because obviously it's saying, did you mean? Yes, that is what I meant. So if I were to put this here, it runs, and if I were to put SGE, it also runs. But I'm going to keep you a Sonar game engine. Should work if I go to, can't open that, but what have I got activated actually? Got SDL. Maybe in SDL you can't immediately access that, because I know in GFW you can. Should be able to. Yeah, I think that's just an SDL thing. Okay, I think we made good progress here. We finished off the settings, reorganized the folder a bit. I'm going to keep this file because at the end of the day we're probably going to need it we will need it at a later date, because now, big feature overview, we're going to be doing the input class. We need to, I'm guessing that's going to require a bit more restructuring in terms of, if I go to one of the frameworks, go to GFW for example, in terms, this probably wasn't the best idea, best example. Go to SFML for example, we got some sort of polling events. So what I'm thinking for the input, obviously I'm going to be ending the video soon, it won't be part of this one, it'll be part of the next one. What I'm thinking for the input is having some sort of event class, and within that event class there's event sort of objects, there's different event handling. You could do keyboard events, you could do mouse events, potentially do joystick events, do window based events, any sort of event that you can essentially think of will be handled in that. Thinking of doing it as a singleton so you can just access it anywhere. I'm actually honestly thinking of doing a very similar system to frameworks, having something called events, and within there you would just have some sort of event interface, core event, and then I got SG underscore GFW. This will be event underscore GFW. Actually, yeah, there we go. This is going to require a bit of renaming. The SGE prefix will change to framework, or FMK, or I might just put framework, honestly, framework underscore GFW, framework underscore GFW for the CPP and HPP, do that for SDL, do that for SFML, and yeah, essentially for frameworks I'll have another folder called events, and that will be essentially doing the same thing, even though that is almost a framework thing. So now I'm thinking, should the events be within the framework because they're specific to the framework? So what I mean by that is not actually have methods within here, because I think that'll just confuse the shit out of it. And like I said, I think we need a singleton for that. So I could have just core events, and then within the framework folder, have a folder called events. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Have a file here called core events, and those are the events that you would be calling. Those are the stuff that you would honestly be calling. You wouldn't be interacting with the sort of core stuff here. And then what you would have is a folder within frameworks called events. Within there, you would have an event interface, CPP, and .h. Is this a .header, or is this? It should be HPP. Build. Should have to fix it in 2 more locations. Actually, no, just the one. Okay. So yeah, within the framework folder, have a folder called events. Within there, have an event interface very similar to this. And then have event underscore GFW, event underscore SDL, event underscore SFML. I'm actually going to make a note of this. So yeah, the note class is, I'm actually going to make a a note here. In progress. In progress. So if I go to the documentation, go to notes, it's going to be some very simple notes. It's going to be core events, HPP and CPP in the core folder, in the core root folder. So within actually I need to first of all do rename fg_glfw to framework_glfw. I could do it to frame. Let's have a look at the naming convention go for everything else. Yeah, I might just do that. This is called framework interface. Should do underscore. I might as well just do that, I guess. Framework GLFW. Does that look good? Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Do the same for SDL and SFML. Once we've done that, create events folder inside of frameworks, and within there, within events folder, create an events interface HPP and CPP similar to frameworks, or just event interface framework interface, because obviously this is, let's say we've got framework, there's one framework attached to it, whereas events, even though there's only just one sort of framework event system attached to it, there's different event types. And then within events folder, create an events interface, events GLFW, events SDL, and events SFML. Keyboard events, mouse events, and stuff like joystick. Let's go to the GLFW events, glfw.org. If we go to documentation, and if I go to, actually no, yeah, the one, the HTML documentation. If I go to input guide, so we got keyboard, we got mouse, we got joystick, we got time input. Should I call it input? I think I prefer the word events instead of input. Events. I'm probably not going to do joystick for now. I'm just going to do keyboard and mouse, even the clipboard, and even time. Actually, time is ridiculously important. It is ridiculously important. So it's best if I do time as well. So keyboard, mouse, and time, and I will leave the joystick events for a later date. That is not important at all. So this will probably keep me going for the next 2 to 3 vlogs easily. Obviously, the sooner we can finish it, the better, because then we can get onto the, I believe it's converting GL helper. Yeah, bring the GL helper code to the Sonar game engine and modernize it. I'll actually quickly show you what the GL helper code is. It's a GitHub repository, so feel free to check it out. It's even older than that, I guess. GL helper. So what we had was a bunch of shapes in here. Let's say we have 3D, cube, we had a bunch of methods in there for drawing. This was using the old stuff, but you had a bunch of getting setters. I think circle was the one that was the most fledged out. But there are methods within the base. If we go into base, there's all these methods as well that you can just access. So it's getting the color, it's getting the center position. Essentially we want to do that because once we've got the base shapes, we can start from using those base shapes, we can start creating actual sort of game objects like sprites, 3D sprites. What else could we have? Images, I guess that's a form of the sprite, but you see where I'm going with this. You will be able to create the sort of constructs that make up a game engine and a game. So we are getting to that process. We are getting to the stage where in UDK or in Cocos you aren't creating a shape. You aren't doing the stuff that we're doing now, because then we're creating the engine. You are creating a sprite which underneath creates some sort of shape, some sort of, let's say, two triangles to do, let's say, square, and you specify a texture name and path. It applies that texture. You can do scaling, that sort of stuff. That's all going to be handled with matrices in the backend using OpenGL and the OpenGL mathematics library, Jordan to GLM. But once we've coded it, you won't see any of that, because if I show you how I was essentially using this code, actually I'll probably best if I go to Crazy Voxel. This was just a project I was working on, didn't get very far with it. Go to main.cpp. So you would just include the GR helper file, and then you just GR helper, shape 3D cube, then you set a center position, set edge length, set a color, set wireframe equals true, for example, and that would be it. And then for the actual drawing, you would just do cube.draw. That is literally all you would do, like so. Then we was also creating a circle essentially, but again, this sort of stuff you probably have outside, and you would just have these one or two methods. So as you can see, we were essentially simplifying hundreds of lines of code into a few lines of code that were dynamic, that were reusable. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing. But first of all, it's input. The input is very important to be able to test some of these stuff, especially when we get into 3D objects, so because we want to be able to rotate them, see if stuff is working correctly. So that is it for day 9, I think it is, of this creating a modern OpenGL game engine. If you have any questions at all, feel free to post them in the comments, feel free to message us. Feel free to post them on our education platform, sonarlearning.co.uk. If you want to help out with the code, there will be a link in the description. So feel free to help out. If you have suggestions, if you have ideas, anything at all. Because like I said, this project is an ongoing project. We want to get the community involved. We want to create the best game engine ever. I know the current state of the engine isn't much. I know we are doing things unconventionally. For starters, we're having multiple frameworks, but we're trying things out, because at the end of the day, things might change. We might just have GFW. We might just essentially create our own framework equivalent. Probably won't, but we might do that. We might use a different framework. So things are constantly going to be changing. We had some code input from a user on GitHub, and we changed a bit of the code. So we're open, and we want code changes. We want to improve it, because at the end of the day, even if you get one of the best developers in the world alone, they will not be enough. If you get 1,000 other developers contributing code, that will be a lot better than just having that one really shit hot developer. So this has been the Creating Modern OpenGL Game Engine vlog. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog. So stop.